Not many anime opt for having Yandere characters, but the ones that do have stuck with us. Welcome to WatchZilla. Today we are going to give you the top 14 best Yandere characters in anime. If I can't have them, no one can is the motto for Yandere type archetype characters. The Yandere is a dere type that combines Yanderu, meaning mentally ill, and dere, meaning lovey-dovey. Together you get someone willing to do anything to end up with the one they love. Anything. Yandere anime characters are obsessed with their love interest. On the outside, they play it off that they are kind and sweet characters to everyone, but on the inside, are willing to go as far as murder if someone gets in their way. This list looks at the greatest Yandere characters in anime. Number 14. Shion Sonozaki. Shion is one of the main characters in the Higurashi series and becomes the twin sibling of Sonozaki Myon. Both the Sonozaki twins are insane. But Shion is so far above the cuckoo nest that she can barely see it. Shion becomes popular for having extraordinary mental disorders and a very clever assassin. Even though she has a feminine and elegant look, but behind all that, she is very smart, cunning, and manipulative. Shion really hates Saint Lucia and call it as a factory for manufacturing ladies. One day, she disguised as Myon. When she met Satoshi, Shion considered him as a nice and attractive man, which then immediately turned into love the moment Satoshi gently patted her head. When the topic of Yandere comes up, her bloodied smiling face usually pops into your head. And good lord has she done some terrible things. Be it a certain Taser pitfall or some biblical dissections of the cross. One moment she's laughing about it, the next she's furiously screaming blaming everyone and everything for the loss of her eye candy. Definitely god tier Yandere, especially if that god is Hades. Number 13. Rina Ryuigu. Rina is a great example of how Yandere characters can be messed up beforehand and simply act out in violent manners because that's just how they are. Rina is the definition of cute. She even obsesses over cute things and collects all the cute things she can find. She is kind and naive and is happiest when out collecting and treasure hunting. Her famous phrase when seeing something she likes is "I wanna take it home." But when she is in this mood, she becomes stronger and faster, all in a light-hearted way. Myon, Rina's friends, does warn that even though she is adorable, she can be scary when angered and should not be crossed. While this weird town may have what twisted Rina, what we see is how her affection towards the main character manifests itself into a big bloody axe. Number 12. Mika Harima. Even before we get into the territory of being willing to chop your own head off, Mika Harima was kinda deranged in her pursuit of love. Mika is a stalker, and when you talk about Yandere or love sickness of the mind, she pretty much fits the definition. While sitting next to Seiji and Mikado during the Ryra Academy entrance exams, Mika falls in love with Seiji. As soon as the exams are done, she begins collecting information about Seiji. Things escalate when Seiji saves Mika and a friend Anri from a group of bullies, but this only fuels Mika's obsession with Seiji, and she starts stalking him. Her passive demeanor and quietness keep her obsessive nature hidden below, and nobody quite knows the extent this quiet girl will go to in order to possess what she wants or who she wants. She would smash anyone in her way, and that means even letting a mad doctor cut off her head so her guy will love her. Her boyfriend probably qualifies as a Yandere anime guy too. Number 11. Nedeko Sengoku. Nedeko is the main character of the show Nedeko Snake. As far as crazy chicks go, Nedeko is a soft mid-tier. This is because she was originally just a full-on dandere, she barely even had the courage to talk to her crush. She is shy and unassuming. She hides behind her bangs while fall down to almost cover her eyes. And then in a biblical turn of events, a snake manages to mess with her head and she goes haywire. She reveals a glare that resembles a serpent and thus she shows the whole other side to her personality that nobody could ever have imagined. She somehow deduces that if she can't have Araragi, she might as well kill him and some other people while she's at it. If she had always been like that, she would have ranked higher here. But because there's some mind control at play, she'll have to stay right here on our list. Number 10. Hadogi Shirayuki. Just like most Yandere girls, Shirayuki Hadogi appears as the perfect girl who's only beautiful and smart but also can do everything well. She is head of the volleyball club, gardening club, handicraft club, she is the student council chairman, and is really beautiful. Even to Kinji, whom Shirayuki's obsessively in love with, she's a real catch. Well, except for the fact that she's insanely jealous. Shirayuki goes completely berserk every time another girl gets near her beloved Kinji. She even tries to kill Arya when she learns that her and Kinji are living together. She seriously has some Yandere killer instincts in her. She possesses a Japanese sword that she named Arakane Ayame, and that is her weapon to avenge her jealousy. And of course, as a good Yandere, Shirayuki needs to stalk Kinji all the time, which she does mainly by texting him a lot. Number 9. Rolo Lamparauga. For many Yandere characters, romantic love drives their obsessive behavior. But that isn't the case for all Yandere characters, as Rolo Lamparauga from Code Geass is driven by brotherly love. Rolo works for the Britannian Secret Intelligence Service. He is quiet and reserved and doesn't attract attention or friends. He spends his time in the background listening and learning. He can be blunt when he needs to be, but his withdrawn personality hides his ruthless killer instinct, who is detached when it comes to taking human life. Rolo is ruthless. He will kill anyone if he sees them as any kind of potential threat. While he masquerades as Lelich's innocent and kind-hearted little brother, in actuality he's a heartless cold-blooded killer. While sent to spy on Lelich for a year, he grows very attached to him and even grows jealous of Lelich's real sister, Nunnally. He is very attached to Lelich, which is a complete contrast to his attitude towards killing and shows his softer, loyal side. Sometimes even possessive. This jealousy is part of the reason he ends up killing one of Lelich's friends, Shirley, after she expresses her desire to help reunite Lelich with his sister. Number 8. Mikasa Ackerman. She may be your favorite Attack on Titan character, but she is, by definition, a Yandere. Mikasa Ackerman is a soldier when it comes to doing what needs to be done. Even if it's grim, harsh or uncomfortable. After being saved by Eren and his family, she is as obsessive and protective of him as a bulldog, putting herself into dangerous situations if it means saving his life. We see this from Mikasa in the first episode with the flashback childhood with Eren. In the Attack on Titan plot, Mikasa Ackerman will jump through fire for Eren Yeager. And won't hesitate to get violent if anyone fucks with Eren. It's clear Mikasa's a little unstable emotionally, especially when dealing with Eren in particular. A bit of an extremist. Number 7. Megumi Shimizu. If human Yanderes weren't bad enough, now there are even zombie vampire Yandere to haunt you beyond the grave. This is what gives Megumi that little terror boost that allows her to be higher up on this list. The first pink-haired Yandere on this list is Megumi Shimizu. Megumi hates living in the village and has a major crush on Natsuno Yuki. She's even seen staring into his window outside his house, hiding in the bushes. When Natsuno appears, on-screen heartbeats can be heard, symbolizing the love that Megumi has for him. Megumi shows Yandere characteristics when she gets excited that Natsuno looked in her direction and kills anyone too involved with Natsuno. Even people she considered friends while she was still alive. So, she's dangerous, malicious, and God himself, according to Bible verse 7 Granda, can't keep her away from you. Number 6. Kote Noha Katsura. It gets pretty tough to decide who's the craziest Yandere in school days. On the one hand, you have Sekai Saionji, who can't get disturbingly obsessive, manipulative and extremely volatile. On the other hand, there's Kote Noha Katsura, who, despite being shy and awkward around men, uses sex to manipulate Makoto and to make Sekai jealous. Kote Noha can be just as much Yandere as Sekai, and at some points even more, especially when we consider that what Kote Noha did with Makoto in the end was even more twisted and creepy than what Sekai had done. Her messed up romantic ways have definitely earned her that much. Unfortunately, she ranks so low because, well, her Yandere-ness literally came out of nowhere. Number 5. Misa Amane. Honestly, if Misa was a bit smarter and Light a bit more human, these two would have made a great couple. Misa Amane fits the standard definition of Yandere. In Death Note, she is willing to do anything for her love Kira. When Light first started killing criminals as Kira, he ended up killing the criminals that killed Misa's parents. To thank him, Misa is willing to be Light's tool so that he can create a new world. Misa had performed the Shinigami trade with Rem, cutting her lifespan to receive Shinigami eyes. She does it again, cutting her life in half to assist Light in killing L. In Death Note 13, How to Read, it states that Misa committed suicide a year after learning of Light's death. The fact that she has a death note along with her insane adoration for an insane man means she belongs right here in our ranking. Number 4. Lucy. Lucy is probably one of the original Yandere girls and paved way for it in a modern context. As a victim of discrimination in her childhood and used in military experiments, Lucy's actions, to some extent in its own twisted way, are not really entirely her own doing, and acts purely on instinct based on her upbringing despite the disastrous consequences. Due to an accident at the beginning of the series, she is found to be in a catatonic state, and the only word she can express is "nu," and Kauta, the boy she falls in love with, names her that. Nu represents her innocent, or Doretera's side, while Lucy is her Yandere half. Lucy would do anything to protect Kauta, but she is capable of showing some restraint for him to some extent. Despite how far she goes for him, she does come to terms that she has no chance with him. Number 3. Kid Fuyu. In the Shuffle anime, Kid Fuyu is a kind and sweet girl that suffers trauma from her mother dying. Her childhood friend is Rin Tsuchimi. She and Rin have a very tragic past of losing their parents, which leads her to initially despise Rin and blame him for everything. She also nearly cost him an eye that one time. But further down the track she falls in love with him as a kind of overcorrection and is now willing to slam any chick that gets too close to her crush. Kid wants to hang out with Rin but is pushed aside when Rin chooses to spend time with Asa Shigira. Asa and Kid are friends, but Kid's limits were pushed when Asa and Rin go on a date. Kid attacks Asa, slamming her into a wall, causing a heart attack and hospitalizing her. So, no decapitations and torture scenes here. But still psycho, although a lower tier for sure. Number 2. Yuno Gasai. Upon publication of this list, Yuno is probably one of the top Yandere girls of modern anime. Her crush is Amano Yukateru, who has a rather apathetic outlook towards life. Towards Yukateru she is nice and yet obsessed with him to the point that she keeps a diary of him that provides her information every 10 minutes. She doesn't even let anybody get in her way and was ready to go as far as opposing Yukateru's mother if she became an obstacle. But what turned a sweet little thing into an antithesis of female fatale? It turns out she came from a very demanding household to the point they would not feed her if she did not meet the expectations of her mother. When she befriended Yukateru during a stage when she was most emotionally vulnerable, she actually proposed to him, and he said yes out of sarcasm, and she still seriously believed him. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 1. Anna Nishikinamiya. It's wild looking back at old episodes and seeing how innocent Anna initially seemed. Anna is the daughter of revered and respected parents. They enforce strict public laws and are incredibly influential. As a result of this, Anna takes on a similar responsibility. Anna Nishikinamiya is the student council president and enforces the law that impurity of any kind has been banned and civilization must remain chaste. She used any means possible, sometimes even seen as lewd or obscene, to get rid of any materials within the school. Her soft-spoken manner is no match for her strong sense of just getting things done. Even though she enforces these laws, she cannot oppress herself. Anna wants to enforce the law but also wants Tanyakichi Akuma's attention. When other girls try to approach Tanyakichi, her Yandere tendencies take over. Tanyakichi joins SOX, a terrorist organization enacting sexual obscenity onto Japan and created by Aya Mikaju, to get closer to Anna. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchZilla and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.